Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rifts. We're back with a Lucian supplementary guide, and today we're gonna be talking about first strike on Lucian with a sort of normal-ish build. Now I don't know if you guys remember, but I'm gonna put it up in the cards if you guys don't. But we did a video especially dedicated to explaining first strike Lucian, so you can go over there to number 1. Hear the explanation for why we're going first strike on Lucian, and number 2, what the build is, because I think that build is better than this one. But in that video, I told you guys that I will be testing out the normal kind of Lucian build and with first strike and see if it's good. And honestly, at this point, I actually think first strike on Lucian is pretty good, and there are pros and cons. But I talk a lot more about it in that video. Maybe I'll talk about it in the gameplay later on as well. But actually, currently as I'm recording this video, the rank 2 Lucian is actually also taking first strike as his rune. So clearly, there is some merit to the first strike Lucian that I quote-unquote discovered, a couple of weeks ago, I think. But yeah, so let's just jump straight into it. So first up, you want to start off with either Gluttonous Greaves, of course gives you the AD and the Omnivamp, or in this case, you could honestly even go with the Boots of Dynamism, the Lethality Boots. Now, why? Because you actually already are getting Bloodthirster as your first item, so you already have Omnivamp from there. So if you really want to snowball and you really want to get like the first strike goal and the damage, going for the Lethality Boots is an option as well. So you can go for that, or you can go for Gluttonous Greaves. Personally, I always go for Gluttonous Greaves because it's kind of just the safer option. Scales very well, and extra Omnivamp never hurt anyone. So first item is going to be the Bloodthirster. Now Bloodthirster, of course, huge AD, physical vamp, as well as the additional stats when you're high on health. No brainer as a first item for ADCs. And then we're going to go for Magnetic Blaster. Now Magnetic Blaster is really good here because the extra range is going to be able to help you proc first strike a lot more easily. If you go for Charge Blade, it does do a little bit more damage, just a little bit more damage, but you're actually going to lose out on the range, and because of that, a lot of times your first strike is going to be disabled. So just proccing your first strike with Blaster is just more important than the damage overall, so you should go for Blaster. Next up, IE for the boost in damage as well as the AD, and of course more reminder for the armor pen as well as the crit. And for the last item, if you want like more damage, you could of course go for Triforce, but normally the safer option is going to be something like a GA, or one of your other defensive options like your Maw, things like that. So obviously for the runes, first strike, to get the extra gold and extra burst damage. Brutal, because you're an ADC that auto attacks. Giant Slayer, which gives you the most value in this slot. As well as here, we're going to go for Bloodline, because Lucian doesn't need attack speed, doesn't want attack speed. And here, you can choose between Sudden Impact or Bone Plating. Now, Bone Plating, of course, is more defensive and it's a safer option, but Sudden Impact gives you the pen whenever you dash in, and this is of course going to lead to more burst damage. And for me, I go for the Sudden Impact because I want to maximize the damage and the goal I'm getting from my first strike. For the for the spells, you want to go for Flash as well as Exhaust. Exhaust, of course, really helpful for Lucian because he's generally in relatively close proximity to the enemies because of his low range, so it's going to help you out in trades and in all-ins. But with all that out the way, let's jump straight into our gameplay. Okay, so now into our gameplay. Now with this build in particular, or rather with first strike in particular, you're going to do a lot better with having an engager to really engage for you so that you can jump in, deal your damage with your first strike up, and do it that way. However, if you are going to go with an enchanter, Nami is obviously going to be the best one because she synergizes very well with Lucian, being able to put her E on him, and he's able to proc it really quickly because of his passive, which then of course increases your burst a lot as well. And also she has the catch potential to help Lucian, to get some picks. So here you can see we're up against a Nyla as well as a Sona. Now this is a really kind of passive lane because Nyla has basically no range, and it's really easy to bully her, especially at level 1 where she definitely has Q. And Sona can't do very much as well, although now with the Sona rework, of course whenever she has stun, she does pose some kind of threat because she does have a half-second stun on you, which can, matter in certain scenarios. Like for example, it allows Neela to hit, a free dash on you, for example, to get off a trait. So it does matter, but relatively, irrelevant. So in this game, we're gonna have to play really aggressive to number 1, farm first strike, such as like this, and number 2, also just to bully them in general. Like even if we didn't have first strike, we should still be playing aggressive here because they are the inferior lane compared to us in terms of laning phase, so we should be bullying them. Now one thing that we have to note is Neela's W. Now with Neela's W, she can block a lot of your damage. So you don't want to unload on her when she has her W. What you want to do is you want to play around her W cooldown. And what I mean by this is normally, if you dash in and auto attack, if she reacts fast enough, she W's, that 2 auto attacks is going to be irrelevant. But here you can see she just popped it. So what this means is it's a green light for us to go in onto her. So here Nami tries to get a bubble. Unfortunately, of course, Neela is kind of a little bit too far away, and we're going to instead trade onto Sona. However, if you guys are wondering what in the world am I doing there, well, it's because in this game I was actually lagging. So here, I lagged a couple of times, especially in the first like 10 minutes of the game. So here I was lagging as well. I just stood still there for like a second. But here I lagged again. You can see I stood still there for a second without just walking at all. That's because I was just spike lagging, and happens sometimes with the internet connection and things like that. But somehow, despite the fact I was lagging, I actually get the kill onto Neela. And honestly, I didn't even know I got the kill because I was lagging there. But only after like 2 seconds later, I realized that I got the kill, and that's of course just a beautiful thing. So again, you want to play around her W cooldown. So when she has W, you don't want to unload on her. What you can do when she has W though is you can Q her, because Q is not an auto attack. And if she Ws, for example, here I get the double auto. You can see that I Q her and then I'm instantly just gonna walk away. So here I wait for a W to expire before I auto her again, and you can see that I'm actually winning the trade 2v1. Nami was taking her some time to get back to the lane, so if she was here, we actually could have maybe even looked to kill, just based on the fact that I'm able to get us such a good trade. So that's a really good example of playing around her W. So I dash forward, double auto attack her because she doesn't have her W. She W's, so I Q her instead. Don't auto attack because it doesn't really matter. And when her W is about to expire, I W her so that I get the double auto attack stacked up. And when the W expires, I double auto attack her again, to of course deal the damage. And she basically just loses the trade 1v2 despite the fact that she has Sona. So here I'm pretty much just gonna do the same game plan. The moment she doesn't have W is when we can take an aggressive trade, or if she has it, we can still dash in and take an aggressive trade, but we just need to take note of the fact that she does actually have W. So here Nami finds them in the choke point, goes for the ulti, cuts her off, and here I'm actually focusing Sona because she's the closer target. But unfortunately it doesn't quite work out. They are both able to kind of escape, and we can't really do anything to them under the tower, so we're just gonna have to back off here and make our way out. So here, if Master Yi wanted to commit to a dive, we could actually shove in this wave and dive, which was kind of what I was trying to do here, which is why I was fast pushing the wave. But Master Yi just walks away, so turns out that no dive is on the cards, so instead we're just going to clear the wave. But this kind of leads to an awkward situation where our wave is stuck outside of their tower. So we are kind of in a little bit of a dangerous spot if we get ganked by Olaf, which is what we don't really want. So we're trying to use our spells on the wave, shove it in, and we can quickly just reset. So now that we have a little bit of an opportunity to talk, I'm gonna talk about this build compared to the other First Strike Lucian build on the other video. So now the reason why I think the other build video is better is, number one, it's cheaper, and number two, it has higher burst damage. Like when you go for your Storm Razor into your Magnetic Blaster as your first two items, number one, it costs like I think a good 400 or 500 gold less than going for a Bloodthirster, or not 400, that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but more like 300 gold less than if you go Bloodthirster into going for your Blaster. Because Bloodthirster is a really expensive item because it's a very, of course, very good, very strong item. But in this case, the extra burst damage from the Storm Razor plus the fact that it's an energized item that stacks up with your Bloodthirster actually, gives you a lot of damage for a cheaper price. Of course, you are losing out on your sustain because you don't have the physical van from the Bloodthirster, but I think that the other build is actually better. So before we talk about the other build, let's quickly talk about what's happening here. My team is getting run down. We're gonna have to flash away from the Olaf who's running us down, and here the only thing we can really do is try to pop the ulti over the wall, and somehow Neela actually stands in a position where she actually just gets bursted down by my ulti and she actually dies. I dash forward to try to catch Olaf, but I run into a root from the Seraphine, and the fight is basically over. No team is really healthy enough to take dragon, so I'm just gonna back off, get the fruit, and kind of wait for the fight to come again, basically. So yeah, I think having the extra burst damage to snowball, stack up your first strike faster, and get into the mid game where first strike really shines is a lot better than in this case going for a more sustained early and kind of doing a little bit less damage because of that. So I do prefer the other build personally, but I still think that this build is pretty alright as well. So here we're starting off the dragon because we see Olaf on the herald. Master Yi is taking quite some time to get here. For some reason he ults to attack the dragon. I'm not sure what's going on. He smites really early, and this actually could be a pretty risky situation. Now here Nami ults, but I don't go in because of two reasons. Number one, Master Yi is not following up. Number two, I don't have mana, so if I go in there, I'm gonna run out of mana mid-fight, and I'm not gonna be able to cast my spells, which basically means I do no damage. And since Master Yi is not there to follow up with the damage as well, it's not really gonna work out. Now, I honestly think this Master Yi is kind of a weird, not playing very well, but he's actually 3-1, so he's at least doing well in terms of KDA. Like, his smite was questionable, he ulted to do dragon for some reason, and he didn't follow up on what would have been, you know, two relatively easy kills to go for if we were all working together. So anyways, regardless, we trade dragon for herald. Olaf gets the herald, and he's able to use it to push down the first tower. And we are going to just stay in the lane and continue on farming. Plates are still up, but they are going to fall down in like 10 seconds or so, so we don't want to go anywhere else to prevent the enemy team from getting some free plates or things like that. And yeah, basically not too much happening. Here we're going in for a trade again. So here you can see that the moment she W's, I'm not going to run for an auto attack. I'm just going to land the Q instead. Deals decent amount of damage to both of them. And remember that her W does not reduce your Q damage in any way. It reduces the damage of magic damage spells as well as blocking auto attack. So it's still a full damage Q. So she's going to, you know, get hurt from that. So in a way, Lucian's kind of works well against Neela because he doesn't rely only on auto attacks. He does rely on his spell damage as well. Here, she uses her W again. I'm not sure how she's getting her W so fast. I don't know if she's actually maxing her W or she's putting points into W, but I'm pretty sure Neela's W is not such a low cooldown. And she doesn't have, like, you know, quick blades or anything like that. So maybe she's actually putting points into W. So anyways, here we have our first full item, Bloodthirster. We have our boots, and you know, we have a really good amount of healing as well as a really good amount of damage. So we're definitely looking to make something happen here. So here we Q onto her, she W, so we're gonna just back off. Here her W is expired, so we dash in on her, and here we're trying to cull her down. We actually hit quite a good number of shots, and she's actually like 1 HP. So right here we're trying to run over the wall to see if we can finish her off. In the meantime, Ahri comes in for the charm as well. I'm just dashing in here. We are going for the Olaf, dashing under the tower to finish off the kill. We tank 2 tower shots, but we're fine. Here we Q Neela again. Unfortunately, Seraphine finally makes the rotation, and Seraphine is able to finish off the kills onto both me and Nami. Ahri is now caught inside the Camille ult. She has no escape, and Seraphine actually picks up a triple kill from that situation, and as well as a shutdown onto me, which is a little bit unfortunate. But we do get the kills onto the Olaf, which is a shutdown, as well as onto the Sona. I believe Ahri was able to pick up the kill onto Neela, and it kind of works out to a relatively even trade overall, I guess. No one really benefited from that, I believe, except obviously the Seraphine, who's like getting all of the gold. Even so, I still have more gold than her, and honestly my whole team has more gold than her except Nami, which is kind of fine in that respect. So here we're back into the lane, just clearing up the huge minion wave. And here we're just roaming down to get the Scuttle since we have priority. Nothing else really to do, so we're just gonna go ahead and just burst down the Scuttle. Notice how I'm not using my dash, because I want to save it in case, you know, someone shows up. Maybe Olaf shows up, we don't have any vision on him. And we also have the dash for doing something like this. So here I'm going in for a quick trade. Nami kind of gets the wrong message and commits with the ulti, and we fought her when she had W, so that's not good. So here I exhaust her, but you know, she just does insane damage with the collector as well as the healing. So really not too much we could really do there, and we just end up dying to her, which again should not happen because we should be playing around her W cooldown, and we did not. So you can see Nami committed when the W was up. And here Master Yi again could have finished the kill onto Camille, but ends up just monkeying around and ends up dying instead. Of course he was dead regardless, but he could have traded 1 for 1 instead of just running around like a madman. Anyways, we do end up dying there because of our mistake of going in on her when she had her W. So this really shows how matchup knowledge is really important here, especially as a Neela player myself. I know how important the W is, so when she has W, we can't really fight her. We made the mistake of doing so, and we are punished for it by dying. So here the next dragon is up. Master Yi is dead and Olaf is alive, but here we're just slowly doing the dragon. Anyway, I'm not using any spells because I want to do it slowly. Here, amazing catch by Nami. We are able to get a free kill on the Sona. I'm able to cull down Olaf for the kill. I get the double and I'm just gonna blast plant over the wall to help Nami out with the dragon. She's just tanking the dragon because she can't really get over the wall in this scenario. So here, beautiful trapping done by the Ahri to prevent Seraphine from attempting to steal, and we're able to secure the dragon for our team, while Master Yi is on the opposite side of the map, supposedly just farming minions instead of helping his team with the objective since he's the jungler. So that's kind of why I think in this game Master Yi is just not very good. Like, you can see based on his, not just his micro, but also his macro, that he's just not very good at the game. So here, Neela comes in, doesn't pop her W for some reason, so we actually get an insane burst on her before she gets the W on finally, and at that point we pretty much used up our burst anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But of course, Neela has insane lifesteal, so she's basically able to lifesteal everything back up. Here at Nami with a pretty nice catch, I exhaust Neela before she gets the ult off, and this time we're able to get the kill on her. Olaf is now running straight at our faces, we flash, and unfortunately he gets a hit onto Nami before his ultimate expires, so he's still unstoppable. He kills me, is going for the Nami as the next target. Nami gets slowed by the axe, and the moment that happens, she's dead meat. He dives her under the tower and she goes down, but we're able to bait them in enough, or rather not really bait, I wouldn't call it a bait, but they overextend to get the kills on us, which means that our team can actually kill them instead. So it's overall a trade of a 3-for-2 trade, because we did get the kill onto the Sona prior to that. So overall, our team comes out on top, although we personally do end up dying. It's kind of alright. Everyone on our team, in this game is all getting a lot of gold. Even the Master Yi, who is like not doing too well. I'm not saying not doing too well, but he's not the best player in my opinion. He has more gold than me, so he's clearly doing something right. But anyways, here we're just gonna farm the jungle on the way. Nothing too much is going on. Everyone is at mid just clearing away, so I'm not going to be able to get any farm there. So I'm going to go farm the jungle instead, where I can actually get some farm. And here a fight breaks out in the jungle. I'm trying to make my way there as quickly as possible. It looks like a huge fight. 3v4 on my team. I'm trying to make it a 4v4. I actually didn't know if you run into Sona's ult after she releases that you get stunned, so lesson learned there. So I run face first into a Sona stun. I kill her. I'm trying to cull down the Neela. Doesn't quite work out. So we're going to have to walk the long way around. Ahri tries to go in onto the Seraphine. I'm just going to dash on top of her and burst her down with the E auto into Q combo. The most basic of Lucian combos. And we get the kill onto her. Now we can focus down this tower and get the tower as well. And here red buff is up. Yasuo already has red buff, and he gives me the red buff since I don't have it. Really nice of him. Give him the thumbs up. Now here I'm just going to farm the enemy raptors to deny them the camps. And we're going to get rid of that vision fairy. And now we're going to just back. But apparently my team hasn't had enough. So Yasuo and Ahri are going in. Nami cancels the recall to help them out. This is a little bit overextended though. Now everyone is trying to run down the Ahri. She gets ulted, but she has crowd, so Camille, not a good decision to ult the Ahri there. Ahri gets the combo onto the Sona. Sona is really low, and I'm actually coming back out from my reset. I nearly walk straight into the Sona stun again. I proto belt forward, get the kill onto the Sona, or Ahri gets the kill, but I helped out quite a bit with the burst damage. I had my IE on base, so I come back with the IE as well. Huge burst damage with the triple crit items and the first strike. Now here, we're walking through the choke points. I have my finger on the dash out of the way of the Seraphine spells, but unfortunately, the Nami gets hit by everything. Here we're just kiting out the Camille, and it kind of works out overall, I guess you could say. In the end, it's kind of support for support, so it's not the worst in the world. My red buff is going to expire soon, so I'm just going to pick up this new red buff. Clear the chicken camp as well. Master Yi is just pushing down the lane, so I'm just going to farm the Krugs instead since there's no waves to farm. The third dragon is coming up, and again this is going to be Dragon Soul for us, similar to our last video. So here we're going to try to go there. Unfortunately, Master Yi is getting caught by the enemy team in the meanwhile, and he actually survives with his ult as well as his flash, and he actually baits the entire enemy team to come in on us. Here, Charm goes in onto the Camille. Camille gets picked. I'm dashing over the wall so I don't get stuck in the choke point, and Ahri is actually getting caught. But she still has 3 ult charges, so she's fine. We're running back through the choke point to join the fight here. Proto belt forward into the Q. we're trying to focus down Olaf because he's the jungler. I accidentally walked into the Sona stun again like a fool, which again I already figured out just now that if you walk into it you're gonna get stunned. Whereas I actually thought that you only get stunned when she launched it, because you know I don't really know how the rework Sona really works, but now I do, so you can't just walk straight into it. The first time you get hit by it, you're gonna get stunned. Nice trap by Ahri again to burst down the Olaf. She doesn't have enough damage, so I'm gonna have to come over the wall to finish off the kill. Hop back over, securing the Dragon Soul. Of course, while all this is happening, Master Yi decides to solo the Baron in the meanwhile, and me and Ahri are headed over to help him out as best we can. Unfortunately, right before we reach, he gets executed by the Baron, but the rest of us are going to be able to finish the job and pick up the Baron. Kind of comical there that he got executed by the Baron, but I suppose if he left the Baron to not get executed, we wouldn't actually get it. So arguably, again, executed by the Baron may have been worth it to give our entire team Baron buff. So maybe, I'm not too sure about this one. But yeah, so here a beautiful catch by Nami and into the Yasuo ulti, but unfortunately with the Seraphine shields, they're actually able to mitigate a lot of the damage, and we actually end up kind of losing out because Yasuo ended up dying, and we didn't actually kill anyone, which is kind of surprising to me based on how well that fight was going. Now Olaf is running Nami straight down. I exhaust him to reduce his damage, and I'm trying to burst him down. We do get the burst onto him. Camille is now trying to go onto Nami as well, but I body blocked the Camille E. And I'm able to get the kill onto Camille instead. And now only Sona and Seraphine are left alive. So I'm trying to push down this mid lane tower. The passive from the blaster allows me gets me to take tower aggro, so I'm going to have to reset tower aggro, finish off the tower. And with the Baron buff, we can push down this top lane tower as well. And Ahri gets the bot lane tower. So just like that, we secure triple inhib. And Ahri goes in for the charm. We get the kill onto Sona. And now looks like we can just end the game here with the 3 Baron minion waves. And there we have it. So with all that out the way, thank you guys so much for watching the video. I'm going to leave you guys with the stats as usual, and goodbye.